Sometimes, you get on your mat and you're in a bad mood or you're having a bad day. And once the body starts to move, it's an avenue for you to get out of your head, your mood, your emotions, and into your body. And you peel away the layers, the mood, the emotion, the feeling, the day, and then you are in that radical presence.
So when we let go and we go into a yoga class so stressed, we can come out and maybe there was something worrying us and we come out and it's solved.
Stagnancy is not good for us. Idleness is not good for us. We're meant for movement. We're bodies in motion, and yoga is a gateway to do that. Movement is medicine.
Movement is medicine.
It's a place to take the mask off, and your mat is your magic carpet mirror. You're on it, and you just are, and it accepts you wherever you are at any point in your life.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Sageful Living podcast. We have my friend Janine Forte here. Janine is the creator of One Yoga International, 200-hour yoga teacher training that can be done hybrid or online. She is an author. She is a yoga, meditation, energy healer. And we're really excited to get into today with Janine is movement as medicine, all right? And how we need to move our body, but how we can live and thrive from the inside out. So welcome, Janine.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Hello, everybody. And yes, movement is medicine.
Movement is medicine. Let's start with you and your story, where you're from and how you got on the path that led you to being a yoga teacher, because I'm sure you haven't been doing this your whole career.
No, and I tell everybody that I had no intentions of teaching yoga ever. I started practicing back when I lived in New York City about 17 years ago, and it was to help me get through a breakup at the time. And I loved the practice so much that I started going regularly. And then when I moved to California, I started going daily. And that's where I took my first 200-hour teacher training and some meditation courses and certifications. And I just fell in love with the practice more and more. Every day that I was on my mat, I really just fell in love with it. And I wanted to learn. And that's what led me to take multiple trainings, because I just wanted more and more of it. Did I have plans to become a yoga teacher? Absolutely not.
What were you doing at the time professionally?
Well, when I first started practicing, I was in corporate real estate. So I went from high heels to no shoes at all. And then when I was living in California, I had created a couple of jewelry brands. And I was using the jewelry to express my creativity, whereas I've always been a creative person, so it was my outlet. So I looked at yoga also as creativity too, for my own self, and it helped me create with the jewelry. And I just feel that it was just more of a place to just be for me, on that mat. And then I remember sitting at my 200-hour training graduation, and a girl asked me, "Where do you plan on teaching?" And I said, "I don't plan on teaching. I want to keep up with my creativity in terms of designing." And she said, "Oh, no, you're going to teach. You have something to share with the world." And I said, I didn't pay attention to it at all. And then lo and behold, I started volunteering at a senior center. And then I started teaching some friends just out by the beach. And then some private clients reached out to me through word of mouth. And then I started teaching one public class that led to 2, that led to 3, that led to 4, that led to 5, and then trainings. And yeah, it's just been a snowball effect. And I think it's because of my love of the practice, to be honest with you. Like I said, I was practicing out of love for it. And then it just grew into a career that I love. So I feel fortunate every day that I get to do what I love.
And that's amazing. And, we've talked about this before in the podcast. Yoga teacher as a career is not necessarily the easiest career. You can't spend your time teaching 30 classes a week.
Mm-mm.
You're going to burn yourself out. So there are other ways you can share what you're doing. You've created things like the teacher training online, leading retreats. You've taken yoga as a teacher to that next level. And I think that really combined with who you are and your deep study of the practice. One thing that always draws me to your classes is your alignment. Like, right? The Sageful Living, we live our life aligned, but with Janine, it's getting my body in alignment, but she really knows the body, and the cues that she gives for me really works in my practice. That's what I love about your classes.
Thank you.
So let's get into movement as medicine. I think maybe we don't move our bodies enough. We don't stretch, we don't dance, we don't do yoga. Let's get into it. Movement as medicine.
It is medicine. I mean, sometimes, you get on your mat and you're in a bad mood, right? Or you're having a bad day. And once the body starts to move, it's an avenue for you to get out of your head, your emotions, and into your body. And once you're able to get into your body, it's radical presence. So you're not thinking about the mood, or you're not ruminating on it, or you're not sitting with it. You're able to basically unstick yourself. You're able to say, okay, I'm feeling sticky, icky. I'm going to be able to unstick myself. And you go in and you just start moving and you peel away the layers of whatever it is, the mood, the emotion, the feeling, the day. And then you are in that radical presence. And that's a way for you to get out of your head into your body and then find that clarity there. So even a few minutes a day, I tell people they don't need a full hour. If you go on 5 minutes and you just do some somatic heart opening, just closing your eyes and moving a little bit, you're tuning into you. And through that, you're able to, I think, heal and thrive and just be more present in the world.
The word that just always came through with everything you were saying for me was clarity. And it's like I had that feeling of being so present with myself and in my body, listening to an instructor giving me a cue on lowering my hips, on releasing my shoulders. So I'm being so present to that listening and to doing. You're right. I'm letting everything else go. So it allows things to come in.
Correct.
So when we let go and we go into a yoga class so stressed, we can come out and maybe there was something worrying us and we come out and it's solved. You get a phone call and the problem is gone, or a solution suddenly comes to you because you allowed that space for clarity.
Correct.
Yeah.
You're giving you said it, it's space. It's giving yourself space to be and to breathe and to feel, and moving everything through and out. So you're able to have more clarity, right? And be able to see. And so, yes, the alignment cues, I was taught by wonderful teachers and they were very heavy on the alignment cues. And not only does that keep you safe in your body, but it also keeps you radically present. It does. Because if I'm saying to you, lower your right hip, you're listening to, oh, my right hip. If I'm saying, lift your right arm higher, you're paying attention, lift that right arm higher. So it's dual benefit. It's being safe in your body, but it's also keeping you present in that moment.
Right.
And so it's a win-win.
I'm not going to go, oh, I'm lifting my right arm and I'm thinking about that meeting that happened this afternoon. No, I'm thinking about, is my arm up high enough? Am I lowering my shoulder? This is amazing. So beautiful. Yoga as presence and bringing yourself back to your body. There's a lot of people out there afraid of yoga. The biggest thing they say is, I'm not flexible.
Yes.
So what do we say to our audience out there that resonated with that?
Yes. That's the number one thing I hear is I am not flexible. And I always say yoga is for everybody and everybody, as one word and two words. So people that are not flexible, all the more reason to come. The people that are busy, all the more reason to come. The people that can't fit it into their day, all the more reason to come. Because once you get there, you realize that there's something for everyone, everybody, and everyone. And so if I have a gentleman, let's say, that comes in, he's very tight hamstrings, he's resistant to the class right away off the bat. I'm not flexible, but I'm trying this. My wife told me to try this. My friends told me to try this. And I could see the fear in them. So what I do, I get him 2 blocks. I get him a bolster. I get him a strap. I get him set up. And throughout that class, I'll make it a point to go around to that person and help him and show him that he doesn't need to reach his toes. He needs to reach his blocks. Once he could reach his blocks, he's like, oh, I can do this. And it's an invitation to come in and try it again. It just happened to me last week. It was a woman, actually. I can't do yoga. I don't want to do yoga, but everybody's telling me I have to go to yoga. Okay, so I knew right away that she didn't want to be there and there was resistance. And so I'd say to her, just lean into the resistance. I promise I won't bite. I'm just going to guide you through this and we're going to work together. She's come back every day since.
Amazing.
Because she felt in that moment that she was able to just be. It wasn't a place where she had to act. I always say it's a place to take the mask off. And your mat is your magic carpet mirror, right? You're on it and you just are. And it accepts you wherever you are at any point in your life.
Yeah. And the thing to really remember is it's your practice.
100%.
You go to a yoga class and you lay in Shavasana the entire time. That's okay. That's your practice. So always make sure not judging yourself against the people in front of you or next to you, because honestly, you don't know that they're even doing things right. Maybe they can throw themselves up into a handstand, but maybe they're not properly doing that handstand. So remember, it is your practice. It is a solo practice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what is between you and your mat?
Mm-hmm. It's a relationship. It's a beautiful relationship. And Susan, I have to say, you've come to my classes and you have a beautiful practice. And I see how advanced you are, because if I call for something that doesn't work for you, you are advanced enough to know how to modify or ask me what or how to modify that particular pose. To me, that's advanced yoga. It's not the person, yes, handstands are wonderful, inversions are great, arm balances are great. However, it's the discernment to know that doesn't feel good, or I don't want to put my body in that position, and feeling, okay, here I am, and I'm going to meet myself where I am. Right. And that's advanced yoga. So you have a beautiful practice.
Thank you. Yeah. And I am a huge proponent of, oh my God, what is the word? Not tools, blocks and stuff. What do you call those things?
Props.
I am a huge proponent of props. I've been practicing yoga since 2002, and I do not go into a class without grabbing blocks. I always have blocks. It brings the floor up. And like you just said, you don't need to be able to get your hands to the floor or your hands to your feet. And being able to come out and put yourself where it feels good, not having to push yourself to go deeper. Do at least one private, to learn the basics and go from there and really find the right teachers. Tell us a little bit more within yoga. What other things are people coming in afraid of?
They're afraid there's judgment. You said it before. People are afraid, oh, I don't know how to do yoga, and I'm afraid I'm going to be judged or looked at a certain way. So in the opening poses, usually I'll do cat and cow. And oftentimes I'll invite the student to close their eyes and experience cat and cow with their eyes closed. And then I will explain to them, after I've guided them through a couple of rounds, that nobody is looking at them in that moment. And I want to make it a point to say that, especially when I notice new students in the room, because with the eyes closed, knowing that no one's looking at them, they often find more space to move even deeper. Or if I have them circle their torso around their limbs and make a circular motion, when their eyes are open, they're not going to go as deep into the circular motions. If their eyes are closed and I let them know no one's watching and I'm not even watching, I notice the circles get bigger. The movements get bigger. Sometimes the head will come into play. They'll open their mouth. They'll be more expressive. So that fear of judgment is people are looking at me. But if you close your eyes in the first few moments and I'm giving them that space to breathe and be and express, then the rest of the practice, they feel a level, I think, of comfort that they can do that. So the judgment, the fear of judgment sometimes wanes a bit because I could see them being more expressive in their practice.
I like that. I hope everybody really listened to that. And I'll share, I always practice with my eyes closed. Not in every pose. There's some poses I need to have my eyes open or I'm going to fall over. But I mostly go so within.
Isn't it a beautiful,
it's such a beautiful experience,
right? You go in and I understand I'm not a teacher that practices when I teach. I'm more guide. So if I do get into a pose, I notice I too close my eyes And then sometimes I'll forget that there's
A class
a
going.
room full of people in front of me, and I'll be like, oh, sorry, guys, like I have to check back in because I enjoy it so much. I enjoy the practice so much. I want to go in, but I have to remember that I'm there to teach and provide a service. But I understand it entirely.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So let's talk a little bit more about that movement as medicine. What are some simple moves we can give our audience at home?
Sure. As I was saying, cow and cat. So even seated, we can do it even here. So I'd invite you to take a comfortable seated position. And that can be with your legs crossed. I call it crisscross applesauce. And hands to the knees, sitting up nice and tall. And inhale, you'll reach your chest forward through the arms. Chin will lift up a little. And then exhale, chin to chest, belly to spine, round. Inhale, glide forward, open up the chest. And exhale, chin to chest, round, belly to spine. And one more together. Inhale, we open up. And exhale, we round. And then coming to center, now let's make some circles. Just moving the torso around in a clockwise position a few times.
Now, I feel like we could even do this on a chair with our feet on the floor, right? If we couldn't sit in our
Absolutely.
crisscross applesauce, we could do this sitting on a chair. As long as we have
Absolutely.
no back on the chair and we have room to move.
Exactly. You can do this even on an airplane. You're sitting on an airplane, you do a few seated cow cats, a few circles. And then if you have the space, you could reach your arms forward, interlace your fingers, spin the palms, reach all the way up to the sky, and we could take a lateral stretch. So lean over to the right, maybe look to the left, and then come up through center and over to the other side. And then come through center and release your hands back down. And even just a few minutes, right? Or a few moments, a few breaths.
So if you just followed along with us right there, you just did your first yoga practice.
Yay.
It's as simple as that. So yes, I could feel, I really loved in the cat cow when I was opening my chest and trying to get my shoulder blades to touch, such a stretch from the front, really an opening. And then when I was rounding through, I have such pain in my lower back. And I felt like that was really helping to open my lower back.
Good.
So movement is medicine, right? We have to move our bodies, walking more, stretching more. How much do we sit and watch television, but we just sit there on the couch or we're hunched over on our phones? Next time you watch TV, can you put the phone down? Can you stretch? Can you sit there on the couch and maybe do a little twist or
twisting.
something? And maybe some deep breathing.
Even something as simple as, and I teach this to seniors, is let's say take your left palm down and with your right hand gently press the fingertips down with a little bend in the elbow. This will stretch out your wrists. So this is medicine for your wrist joint. Then you do the other hand and you breathe into it 3 to 5 breaths. That's yoga. Right? It doesn't need to be these fancy poses. You could even make some wrist circles, right? So we want to limber up the wrist joints. Same thing can be said with the ankles. You could roll the ankles around. So movement is medicine because every time we roll into the joints, we're producing more fluid to roll around, which is medicine. The synovial fluid is medicine for our joints. So we want to keep the body in movement, right? Stagnancy is not good for us. Idleness is not good for us. We're meant for movement. We're bodies in motion, and yoga is a gateway to do that. So
they say in the blue zones, I watched a show on this, especially in Italy, they walk. So you see this 90-year-old man walking so many stairs, but that's what they do every night after dinner. And then they walk and they stay healthy and they live longer because
movement is medicine. Yeah.
Movement is really important, especially as we get older, especially as we're driving more and sitting on our desks more, or just sitting more. We got to move the body.
Absolutely. And you made a great point, walking. Walking we can do until we're 111, right? If we're lucky. So a few minutes a day, I wrote that in my mindfulness workbook. A few minutes of walking each day without our phones. We could have them with us, but silence them and just get out in nature. Take a neighborhood walk. Go to the beach side or the mountainside, wherever you can. Take a few minutes. Notice the trees. Notice the bodies of water moving. Notice the sounds, right? Using your body in motion, but also creating this mindfulness around the whole experience is medicine. It is.
Yeah, so you just touched upon it. Let's get into that mindfulness. Now, what you said with the walking, I always think of, is it Nat Ting Tung?
Thich Nhat Hanh.
Thich Nhat Hanh.
Mm-hmm.
The walking meditation, pick a color. And as you walk, you're looking for that color. So pick something like blue or pink, not green. You're going to see a lot of trees and a lot of grass, but something crazy. And as you walk, you'll be so surprised. You will see flowers. You'll see paint on the street. You'll see a sign on somebody's house, but it's bringing you to presence
I love that.
and mindfulness.
I love that.
It is my favorite. When I used to walk Ollie, I would always do that. And I would pick a color and then I would be looking for that color. It brings you into such presence.
That is brilliant. And I can't wait to do it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm really excited because I heard something similar, but what you're describing is a lot more open. And the one that I had heard was about butterflies. So you think, okay, how many yellow butterflies will I see on my walk today? And just putting that concept in your mind, then you become aware of, will I see any yellow butterflies? Lo and behold, I did it the other day. I saw 3 yellow butterflies. If I was not putting that in my mind's eye, I would have walked out and I may have noticed the butterflies, but would I have noticed the yellow butterflies, right? So very similar to what you were saying. And it was so groovy. And now I've been playing with that more and more, noticing the butterflies, but I'm going to pick a color tomorrow.
So that's a great example of mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit more about mindfulness because you've written a book about this.
I have, yes. In simple terms, mindfulness is to be aware, right? So it's being aware of what you're experiencing. And nature for me is a great place to be aware. You go outside without the phone. I walk my dog and I notice him. I'm aware of him, what he's smelling. I notice the sounds. I notice the sights. It's a heightened awareness of what is around you. I also notice in that my mind, what's going on through the loops in my mind. If I'm not paying attention to the dog or I'm not paying attention to the sounds or the sights or the smells, if there's a moment of silence, what's in my thoughts? Where is that going? So it's being aware of everything in all moments. And a lot of us aren't because we get distracted. We're in a world of distraction. So we have the phones ringing, we have the emails chiming in, we have the horns honking at us, we have all these to-dos to go to. But we could stop and just give ourselves moments of radical presence. It is mindfulness in action, and living that way is a more peaceful way to live, in my opinion, because we're living in life. We're not going through the motions of life. We're actually living and experiencing. And a lot of the Buddhists practice this. They practice mindfulness as a way of being in life, experience everything. And let's call a spade a spade. Sometimes life is not exciting, right? But still, it's mindfulness in action if you are aware. Like, I'm aware that I'm having this beautiful conversation with you right now and that you've invited me into this lovely space of your home to do this. Or I could just be thinking on autopilot, like, what am I going to say next? What's she going to ask me next? So if I'm engaging with you, that's mindfulness in action. And that is, to me, a beautiful thing. I'm giving you my attention. You're giving me yours. We're sharing. We're in this space together. I feel a little warm. I may take my jacket off. Like, I'm feeling as I'm going through it versus living in distraction.
Right. Where maybe you'd be like, oh, I'm so hot, I want to take my jacket off, and not listening to something that I'm saying back to you because you are not being present.
Correct. And I think it's the greatest gift to give somebody is your presence.
Your presence, yeah.
Your presence is a present, right? You're deserving of my attention when you and I make a plan. And I would hope I would be the same with you. That to me is beauty. right? Sharing presence with one another, not being distracted, not focusing, multitasking. And that's my new thing lately. It's called single tasking. So I was raised in an environment where multitasking was praised, right? Do this, do this, do this, do this, and get as much done as possible as you can. My new thing now is single tasking, and I heard it somewhere along the way. So if somebody else created it, I give you the kudos for creating it. But I am into single tasking lately, and I really enjoy it. When I'm cooking a meal, I'm cooking a meal. I may put on melodious music, especially now, holiday season, like some instrumental Christmas music or holiday songs. But I'm cooking whatever it is I'm cooking. If I'm on the phone with somebody, I'm listening to them, not texting someone else or writing an email. If I'm writing an email, I'm writing an email. If I'm walking the dog, I'm walking the dog. If I'm conscious about walking meditation, I'm conscious in my walking meditation, single tasking. So that's my new thing lately.
So what is that bringing to your life?
It's so much it's so much better, Susan. Like, I don't have a fancy word for it, but it's making everything so much better for me because I'm just experiencing mindfulness in everything that I'm doing, and it's giving me this deeper level of presence.
It's interesting because as you were just talking, what I wanted to say is that it gives you, yes, that deeper awareness and that deeper presence and that deeper focus. So your email is going to come out that much better because you're not distracted doing something else. There have been studies out there about multitasking. Women are tended to multitask more than men, but that it is more productive to not multitask. And I am with you. I am a queen of multitasking. I've built my professional career. I worked in marketing and things like that. I always had to multitask. But I do see that the mindfulness and awareness, when I am focused solely on one thing, it's going to go better and faster. Like, you're going to get one project done at a time instead of trying to get 3 done at once. Are you ever going to get those 3 done?
And if you do get them done, will they be at the level that you want them at, right? You could do one thing really well, or you can do a few things decently well.
Yeah.
What would you rather? And it's a question. Some people are okay delivering 3 projects mediocre in a mediocre standpoint. For me, I'm at the point right now that I want to do one thing really, really well. And this past year has been an exercise in that. And I created the online teacher training program, and that has been my focus. Like, I've had horse blinders on to the point where my social life has waned in this past year, and it's because I've been single tasking. Now, is it to the point where it's OCD? No. So I'm mindful of that, but I'm saying this is my project, this is what I'm working on, and this will be my focus. So I put the phone face down and I put it down, and when I saw the result at the end, I was really proud of my project because I knew that I took the time to focus on that and put my all into it. So it wound up working in benefit to me. So I'm a big fan now of single tasking.
I love that. And I would invite everyone that's listening to try that. And the one that really stuck out to me, you said, was when I'm on the phone, I'm not sending another text message. Because I infamously do that all the time and I'm not fully listening and then I miss something within the conversation. So thank you. And I'm going to try to bring that one in for me. That's a big one. Wow.
It is. You could also tell. I could tell when someone's listening, when someone's not.
Yeah.
So it's, if you're sharing something intimate with a friend or a family member, you want them to be listening to you. And you are a wonderful listener. So I'm always grateful when we have conversations. I always feel like you really listen and you care. You care enough. There are some people that I'll speak to them and I could just tell that they're distracted because they're multitasking in their brain. I hear her words, but I'm not listening to her. And there's a difference between hearing and listening.
Yeah.
You want to have that. So there's that notion of paying attention, and it's a gift to give others, and also for a gift for yourself.
Thank you. And when you were talking about mindfulness, I kept thinking about being mindful of others or your actions of others. And it's always, I feel like I'm always thinking of others. There was something happened and I said, if we sit there, then somebody's going to be facing the wall. And the person's response to me was, well, you won't have to face the wall. I wasn't just thinking about myself. I was thinking about that seat would be shitty for anybody. This isn't important to the podcast. I'm trying to get to, there's something I like, the mindfulness of, like, I even just think of people walking in and cutting in line because they're not paying attention. Okay. So it's like, I even think of mindfulness of like when you're out there doing things, sometimes you'll waiting in line to get a coffee and someone comes in and they cut the line because they are so not even paying attention. To me, that's mindfulness as well. How you're showing up in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not nice when people aren't showing up mindfully. Is if you took time out of your day to go to that coffee shop and that person just whizzes by you, bumps into you, doesn't say sorry. They're in their own subjective world, not caring about anybody else. If the rest of the world is like that, we're in trouble, guys. Like we're in trouble. We need to take care of one another, right? So when you go into the coffee shop, you're going to be mindful. You're going to walk in, you're going to wait online, and you want to have an experience there. Say hello. That's another thing for me. Being kind and polite to other people. When you walk into that coffee shop, say hello to the person behind the counter. What I can't stand is when people walk into a coffee shop or walk in anywhere and they're like, get me.
Yeah. The saying hello is just even being mindful.
Mindful, right. Yeah. Saying hello, being mindful of the other person in front of you who is providing a service to you, saying hello, how are you today, and meaning it, right? That's mindfulness in action as well, caring about others. Because what are we all here for otherwise, right? We're all brothers and sisters walking each other home. So at the end of the day, why not be mindful in daily life? Say hello, be present in the counter. When you're standing there, sure, it's okay. We all look at our phones waiting for our coffee, right? But when you hear your name, go up to the counter, thank the person behind the counter, maybe open the door for the person coming in and say hello. The other day I was in a coffee shop and the person completely just, opened the door, not enough for me or Jax to get in, my dog. And I went, but for me, I make it a point to keep the door if I can for the other person, right? Saying hello, being kind. Like this is mindfulness in action. I think so. It's an engagement with other humans, it's an engagement with animals, and I just think it's really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing people and listening to people.
Yeah. Just acknowledging someone with a look in the eye and a smile. We've lost touch with that, with being able to connect.
It's very true.
We're always so distracted in our phones and looking down and not looking up. I'm really glad I was raised by a man who, in the grocery store, would tap the woman in front of him in line and be like, do you think that's true? Whatever. It's like on the National Enquirer. And my dad would strike up conversation. So that's how I learned to just engage with people. But I see people, and I don't expect everyone out there to always thinking of everybody else and seeing everyone else. But when you're mindful, you are seeing other people and you are thinking of other people. Absolutely. You carry yourself in the world differently. And when you're in that awareness, you're going to start to see more. Absolutely. Mindfulness brings so much clarity. You see so much more in the world. Your eyes are open and you see more beauty, right? You may see more pain of others, but you'll see more beauty.
You had said you care when you go to a restaurant. You think about the other person and where they're going to sit because you care. You're a human that cares. And that's a beautiful thing to have in this world. If only more people would care, if there was more mindful awareness, the world would be a better place. And so it's really not so difficult to make the world a better place. I think we each can do it one mindful act at a time, being genuine in that act, right? You care about the table of four that you're going to sit down with. Will that person like that seat? But also thinking of Susan too, because taking care of yourself is very important. Having self-love is a very important thing to have.
It's the self-care, not selfishness.
100%.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Yeah. And there's a fine line.
There's a fine line.
There's a fine line. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right. Anything else you want to share with the world about yoga, movement, energy, meditation, mindfulness?
I just think we all should be doing these modalities. It's simple, but I think that the yoga mat's a magic carpet. I think we should all be practicing yoga, some meditation, some mindfulness. energy work, energy healing, just in the wellness world. I think it's so important. I also think it's important to treat ourselves to retreats once a year. I go on a personal retreat once a year, and I also host retreats. I think it's very important to step out of your day-to-day and give yourself retreats.
Let's talk
and
about
treats.
that for a minute. Let's talk about retreats, because some of our audience might not even know anything about retreats. This is something in your business you are so successful at. So Janine, by the way, she moved to Florida, not knowing anyone, not established as a yoga teacher, and got in with a studio and has become one of the lead teachers there. But every retreat she has done in 3 years, 5 years,
6 years,
have been sold out, and she has
Yes.
about 4 a year. And that to me is so beautiful, to show you what she is bringing to the world is needed and wanted. So let's get into, what does a retreat look like?
Good. So a retreat is a mini vacation where usually there's a yoga practice in the morning, then evening practice. So I usually host retreats 3 nights to 5 nights. And so the destinations can be in the US or they can be outside of the US. I just hosted one in Mallorca, Spain this summer, which was incredible. That was a 5-night retreat. In the days, there's either downtime or an activity. So we will do, let's say, a bike ride, or we'll go hiking, or we'll do an excursion out into nature, or we'll go horseback riding. So each of my retreats have a theme. For example, I did a retreat at a ranch in Ocala about a year ago, and it was all about the heart chakra, because horses, they have hearts that they emit frequencies 10 times greater. So we did horse therapy, and we would pet the horses and do all sorts of therapy. And then in the evenings, we always gather for dinner, and we'll make curated menus that are vegan friendly, vegetarian friendly, and those who eat animal protein. So they're experiences. So they're just all so unique and so different and so fun. And I love them. And I encourage everyone to do a retreat at least once a year. So
It's beautiful.
Mhm.
And I think what is so magical with a retreat, I used to lead weekend retreats to Bimini from Miami, and then people would show up Friday afternoon, and by Saturday afternoon, we felt like we had been there for days.
Yeah.
And everyone would look at each other at dinner Saturday night and say, have we really only been here for 24 hours?
Right.
It is amazing how much you can just release and let go, and you're with a small group of people in a beautiful setting,
Mhm.
and you are being present, and you are there for yourself.
Absolutely.
Retreats are definitely for the soul.
Absolutely. And you said it just like my sister says it. She goes, Janine, I feel like I go to camp every retreat I go on. She goes, you get there and you don't know many people, or maybe you know a handful. And by the end of the retreat, you're all best friends. You know who has had a bellyache, who has, who is doing, what for the holidays. You just become very close with everybody very quickly, like you said. And it's so fun. And they're like mini camp getaways for adults. They're great. Yeah.
Great way to connect with new people. Exactly.
And what's neat, Susan, and I'll say this too, is my retreats at the beginning were very female heavy. Now, more and more men are coming.
Wonderful.
And it's awesome. They're co-ed and they're awesome. So I'm loving to see, because also more and more men are doing yoga, more and more men are doing meditation, more and more men are doing energy healing. In some of my teacher trainings, I'm also, attracting more men that are looking to become yoga teachers. So even the retreats now, and I love that, because again, yoga is for everybody and everybody, right? And so bring it on. Let's all do retreats and let's all do yoga.
Just that escape and for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That is self-love right there. Going on a retreat is self-love.
What's better than mindful movement, right? Moving your body, the medicine and movement. And then you go and you have dinner with a group of like-minded people and have fun during the day.
In beautiful settings.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So here on the Sage for Living podcast, our tagline is live a life aligned. And I love to find out from our guests, tell us about some of your daily practices that keep you in alignment.
It's a great question. Thank you for asking. First thing I do in the morning is a meditation practice. And I also do Reiki on myself every day. Then I journal about 30 minutes each day. And then I take the dog for a walk. So I get out in nature, and I get on my yoga mat every single day. So those are the things that keep me aligned.
I love that.
And my coffee.
And your coffee. All right. We might
Yes.
have to have a podcast one of these days about coffee.
Oh, yes, please.
Thank you, Janine, so much. We will have in the show notes where you can find Janine. If you mention the Sageful Living podcast, you'll get 10% off on her hybrid or online teacher training, the 200 hour. And the 200 hour is for anyone who wants to understand yoga, deepen their practice, and get into their body. It is not about becoming a teacher. It's like going on a retreat, but in the end, you have a certification and transformation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And you can find Janine in Miami at Yoga 6 in Aventura and Anatomy in Aventura as well.
Yes. About that.
In the show notes where you can find Janine. If you mention the Sageful Living podcast, you'll get 10% off on her hybrid or online teacher training, the 200 hour. And the 200 hour is for anyone who wants to understand yoga, deepen their practice, and get into their body. It is not about becoming a teacher. It's like going on a retreat, but in the end, you have a certification and transformation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And you can find Janine in Miami at Yoga 6 in Aventura and Anatomy in Aventura as well.
Yes. Very excited about that.